If you've ever been underestimated by the very people who were supposed to love you, this story will hit different. Stay with me till the end, because what happens to this woman will remind you that God sees what others refuse to see. And if you believe patience always pays off, drop a comment saying, "I believe," before we start, and hit that subscribe button before we begin, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let me tell you about Ngozi. In the Okafo family house in Surulere, everybody had a name for Ngozi, and none of them were kind. Her mother-in-law called her the empty basket. Her sisters-in-law called her the woman who came with nothing. Even the house help spoke to her with less respect than she deserved. Ngozi had been married to Emeka for 6 years, and in those 6 years, she had given him no child, no property, and according to his family, no value. "Emeka, are you sure this woman is not holding your destiny down?" his mother would say, loud enough for Ngozi to hear from the kitchen. "Look at your mates. Chidi has 2 cars. Uche just built a house in Lekki. And you, married to a woman who cannot even contribute to this family." Ngozi never answered back. She would just lower her eyes and continue whatever she was doing. Washing plates, folding clothes, or preparing dinner nobody thanked her for. Emeka, weak as he was, never defended her. He simply sat quiet whenever his mother spoke, and that silence hurt Ngozi more than the insults themselves. What the family didn't know, what nobody in that house knew, was that Ngozi worked as an accountant for a small logistics company in Ikeja. And what they really didn't know was that 3 years ago, before her marriage struggles got worse, Ngozi had quietly invested her small salary into shares of a transportation company that was at the time struggling to survive. She never told anyone, not because she was proud, but because in that house, anything she owned would somehow become family property the moment she mentioned it. She had learned to keep her small wins to herself, like a woman hiding water in a drought. Every evening, after enduring insults she didn't deserve, Ngozi would sit by her window with her old technophone, checking the numbers quietly, watching, waiting, believing. Then, one Friday evening, everything changed. Emeka's younger brother, Tobena, came running into the house shouting like something was on fire. "Have you people seen this? The logistics company that just got listed on the stock exchange, the one everybody is talking about on the news, see who owns 15% of it." The family gathered around the small screen, and there, boldly written in a business report, was a name that stopped every mouth in that sitting room. Mrs. Ngozi Okafo. For a moment, nobody spoke. Emeka's mother snatched the laptop, adjusted her glasses, and read it 3 times like the words would change if she stared hard enough. Emeka's sisters looked at each other confused, almost embarrassed, and Emeka himself just stood there staring at his wife like he was seeing her for the first time. "Ngozi," he said slowly, "is this you?" Ngozi, who was folding clothes in the corner of the room, didn't even look up immediately. When she finally raised her head, her eyes were calm, not proud, not bitter, just tired. "Yes," she said simply, "it's me." His mother, the same woman who called her empty and worthless for 6 years, suddenly found her voice trembling with a different tone entirely. "My daughter, why didn't you tell us? We would have supported you. We would have..." "Supported me?" Ngozi finally let out a small, quiet laugh. Not out of pride, but out of something deeper. Relief, maybe, or years of swallowed pain finally finding air. "Mama, for 6 years, I served this family with everything I had. I woke up before everyone and slept after everyone. I never asked for thanks. I only asked for a little respect. You called me a burden when I had nothing. Now that I have something, you want to call me your daughter?" The room went silent. Even Emeka couldn't find words. He walked closer to his wife, his eyes wet with something between shame and regret. "Ngozi, I'm sorry. I should have stood for you. I should have seen you." Ngozi looked at her wife for a long moment. She didn't hug him. She didn't cry. She simply said, "Seeing me shouldn't have needed money, Emeka. That's the part that hurts most." She didn't throw them out. She didn't seek revenge. In fact, months later, she quietly helped the family relocate to a more comfortable home and even sponsored Tobena's education abroad. Not because she forgot the pain, but because she refused to turn herself into the very thing that once wounded her. But something did change forever. Ngozi stopped being invisible in her own home. She started speaking freely at family meetings. She started making decisions with her head high. And slowly, the same people who once called her name with respect began to whisper her name with respect. Sometimes, the people who call you a burden are simply blind to the blessings standing quietly in their own house. Ngozi's story teaches us that worth was never meant to be proven. It was already there, waiting patiently to be seen. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll past without dropping a like and sharing it with someone who needs a little hope today. And subscribe, because there's another story coming that will move you even more. Until next time, value people before life forces you to.